Hey, Mark, did you ask to say about May 17th? What? Did you ask to say about May 17th?
No, I'm going to. I've got the triple J right here.
That's it, the triple J.
Can I ask you to do like
okay, on the 17th.
I got it.
Yeah, I got it. Got it. That's my friend. No pressure. Yeah, that's me. I'm like, if I'm in the back, I'll get to the no, yeah, yeah, I love that. It's like, I want to sing. I love this full house. Whatever you want. I'm awesome. I know we have to say. I'm playing. I don't know what's like. Yeah, divine. So sure I'm eating like.
Yeah.
All right. Look at this full house. Woo, 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 woo. I love it. I think everybody's looking for leverage. I think that makes sense. I'm so excited to announce and have you here today. Alisha Fickert has been selling real estate since 2007. She has been in Gary Keller's top 100 Mastermind since 2020. Congratulations. Fantastic. She's spoken at family reunion for the last 2 years. She's a certified One Thing ambassador, and we know how much we love that book. She was a solo agent up until 2020, and then her husband joined her. That's awesome. She's had a virtual assistant for 6 years that only works 20 hours a week. I have 2 full-time assistants, guys. She's a full-time assistant, 20 hours, or a part-time assistant, 20 hours a week. You work 4 days a week for the last 8 years, and Wednesdays are mommy day.
The best day of the week.
Yeah, we have so much to learn from you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, Amy. I'm so excited, guys, to be here. I love talking about leverage and creating a balanced life. And at the same time, I know it says balanced life. It's impossible to have it balanced all the time. It's about counterbalancing or the same balancing at any time. But I love this subject. And so I just thank you for introducing me. And I just wanted to go over a little more about me. I'm from Chico, California, which is about an hour and a half drive north. Not exciting, as we were talking, not a lot of exciting things in between. I was born and raised in Paradise, which is about 10 miles up the hill from there. I met my husband, like she said, 15 years ago. I met him by handing him my business card. Talk about lead generation and now a downline. There you go. Yeah, he joined me in 2020. I have 2 kids. I have a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old. And my 4-year-old is the spice of life. He is so energetic, and they're complete opposites. One's very risk everything, like, oh, I want the tallest mountain. I want to jump off of this. The other one's like, oh, I don't even want to go on that slide. It's a little too high. So 2 adorable kids. And yes, I don't work Wednesdays. I haven't worked Wednesdays in 8 years. When I had my child, our first child, I got the greatest blessing. I was told, no, we don't have room for her at the daycare we were going to. So at first I was like, oh, this is crazy. I'm like, put me on the list. Like I need to get back to work because I love being a mom and I love working. Like I think it's a part of me. I know some people love staying at home and that's great for them. I think I'm a better parent if I also go to work. So that's just me. And after a while, I was like, this is amazing. Like, work really does expand to the time allowed. Like you guys, as a new agent, phone rang, I answered it. I wasn't purposeful with my time so much at the beginning because I didn't have any kids. I didn't have a lot of responsibilities. So I could pick up the phone or someone could call me. I'm like, yeah, I could show you tonight, I could show you this weekend. It didn't matter. And then when I had a little one, it totally changed everything. And so I just had to get very purposeful. So working 4 days a week became my new thing. I don't work on weekends, I don't work the evenings, and I don't work on Wednesdays. And it just, the biggest challenge is first your mindset around that. And the second is the other agents. It's not your clients, actually the other agents that don't understand it because it doesn't make sense to them. So so Wednesdays became mommy day. An opening did come up and I told them, no, never mind, I'm good. I'm just gonna keep mommy day. Unfortunately, it ends in August. My little one is going into TK. So, but we'll still work around. I don't know what my life looks like on Wednesdays because I only play games and do marbles and train. So we'll see what it looks like. Anyways, so it's a little about me. Like I said, I wasn't very purposeful at the beginning as an agent, and then I became very purposeful just because I know that when I get to work, I have certain things and I follow my calendar so that I get things done so that I can go. Because before it was like, if I just didn't get it done, I would just work late. It wasn't a big deal. So anyways, this is what we're gonna go over today. We're gonna go over core values, the 7 circles, myths around getting leverage, what balancing looks like, leveraging, which is what we're going to talk about a lot today, and priorities. The core values. The secret to achieving inner peace lies in the understanding our inner core values, those things in our lives that are the most important to us. And then seeing that they are reflecting daily events of our lives. I feel like this is very important to me because I didn't spend time getting to know myself. I feel like in your 20s, you're just like, oh, that looks exciting. Oh, I want to achieve that. You see someone on stage like, oh, I want to be like that person. You grab all these things. And then after a while, you're carrying all these beliefs and all these things. And you realize, you look up one day that these aren't even important to you. Why am I carrying these things? So I've been on a journey of letting them all go and picking up the things that actually matter to me and understanding myself. Like if you get to know yourself, like what is your core beliefs? What's important to you? It all starts in the mind. So we're going to go over core values is our first step because I think that you really need to understand yourself. And the core values, I learned in the one thing at the goal couples study retreat. The first time I did the exercise, I just went through it really fast. They give you a whole list. If you guys turn to the next page, you'll see there's a whole list of all these different values that you can choose from. But I want you to look at it a little different. If you were to describe yourself in 2 words, what would that be? And it's not something that you want people to see in yourself. It's not like, oh, I'm a mother, I'm going to pick family. My core value is balance, efficiency, and growth. Like that's my core value. And there's nothing sexy about efficiency. Just going to say it, but that's who I am at the core. And I know that because when I'm out of alignment with that, being balanced or efficiency, I can feel myself getting out of sorts or irritated. So really what makes you, deep down inside, I want you guys to take about 5 minutes, look through all those. And I know you're going to want to check all of them, but I need you to narrow it down to 2 or 3. So take about 5 minutes. Go ahead and just look through all of those. I don't know about these new people. And everyone has a handout and a stack of money, right? I'll make sure. What do you not have?
That's okay, you can share. Thank you.
Alisha, we get back on the camera real quick. Just walk back over. There you go.
Because I walked out.
No worries.
Over there.
There you go. Now you're
There
good.
you go.
Scanning. Okay, there you go. It feels like when you start writing down your core, you can narrow it down, like I said, to 1 or 2. Afterwards, below that question, it says, what does that mean to you? Each word means something different. I've seen people write one word and they mean these different things to different people. And it's very important to know what that means to you, because if you have a significant other or a spouse or a partner, business partner, understanding what each other's core beliefs is very important. My husband's number 1 is playfulness, and mine second one is efficiency. So in the morning when we're trying to get out the door and he's trying to be funny and I'm trying to get everyone out the door, knowing that we're clashing is good to know, because then we can stop and be like, okay, you're just trying to be funny. And I'm just trying to get things done. So let's do this. Like, yeah. But it's understanding each other. So this is super helpful, I feel like, in a relationship and if you have a business partner. Start wrapping it up. Does anyone want to share what they wrote? First.
And so one of mine that stands out, adaptability. I'm always open to change. That just kind of like the, so it's knowing that it's not always the way, because you got to understand that change has to shift. When you have to change. That kind of seen that during school, college, life changes.
All very thank you for sharing.
I put faith, and that means putting God first, trusting Him, and having faith in my walk, life, business, and everything.
Full circle. I have gratitude, cherish each day, no matter what.
Mine was creativity, seeing the beauty in everything and making everything in every situation as I can, making things pretty, so smile.
Thank you.
I wrote down love as my number 1. When you live in love, all falls in place. That and love begets everything else that you need and value. Love created you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing. Yeah, you guys, you can take this home. I really would encourage you to share it with either kids or have your kids even do this. It just would be a fun exercise, getting to know like what their core values are and what's yours, and then sharing it just helps break that of not understanding people. There's so many misunderstandings in this world. Understanding each other and yourself better. All right, so we are going to flip the page. We're going to go to the 7 circles. Sure, you guys have seen this with the one thing, the 7 circles of your life. I want you guys to rate yourself. We're kind of just doing an overview of who we are, what's important to us right now. And so We're going to talk about the 7 circles. First, we'll talk about, so physical health. This is, you guys have one body. If you don't take care of it, where are you going to live? Then we have spiritual life. We're all going to wonder why we were born. Why are we meant to be here on this earth? Finances goes over, you know, maybe your 401k, retirement, business. Most of you guys are going to be your business owners. So what role are you playing in that business? And then your job. Your job's going to be the specific role that you are leading the team, or what is yours that's important. And then key relationships. This is for your spouse, your friends, your significant others, coworkers, and then personal life. These are things you like to do. Like, what are your hobbies? What makes you? So I want you to rate yourself a 1 to 10. 1 being not great in the area, and then 10 would be extraordinary in that area of your life. So you can shade it in, or you can just write a number right next to it, and then we're going to kind of go over a couple of questions after that together. So go ahead and take about 2-3 minutes. Oh, I got it. Okay. There are.
Yeah, where you're at.
Yeah. If you look at your life right now, how is this looking? And guys, I don't bite, so you could totally ask me, stop me, or just like tell me you have any questions. Sorry. I'll just say you can ask me. Can you explain it? Yes, so there's a circle, there's 7 circles, or really 1 circle, but there's 7 areas of your life. We're going to rate yourself from a 1 to a 10. A 10 meaning that you're killing it in that area. A 1 meaning not. So then it's there's a 1 to 10. So write a number or shade it in each area of that circle.
How do you see yourself?
So say you're going to cover. So 5.
I work for it.
Okay, so the in that area, like what's their 1? You know what I mean? What's your role in that? And then your job. Like what are you actually doing? This one's going to be more about how are you doing with the team and their overall. So it's going to be slightly different, not hugely different.
Yeah.
I kind of like that more on this like
So now that we've done this, looks like everyone's done the circles and you rate yourself. Underneath those has 4 questions, and I gave my handout to somebody. Can I borrow someone's? Okay. What I want you guys to answer, what does a typical day look like for you? What is work life conflicting with other areas of your life? What is eating up so much of your time? And what actions are you giving your energy, and what actions are depleting you? So take about 5 minutes. Think about, like, answer those for your life, what it's looking like right now, because what I'm doing is I'm trying to talk about business and professionally, because I see us as a whole, like, so if it's a coin, you have both sides. You have your business and your work life, and you have your personal. You're still one person. So you need to, they both flow and pour into the other. That's how I see it. I don't know about that one. Take another minute and just wrap that. Where's your shirt from? Amazon.
Yes. We do shop at the same store.
I love Amazon. Amazon for everything.
So they just deliver it, and then I turn it on. I'm like, oh yeah.
I wasn't expecting that question. Okay. As we wrap up, I know we're still filling out. People are filling out. Anyone want to share? I know this is kind of just like an overview of what's important to you, where you're spending your time. Anyone want to share? Question.
I get up at 5. I go to Orange Theory 5 days a week. Then I come home, take a shower, take morning meetings, clients, put out fires, put things like all day long, clients. Come home, have dinner with my daughter, and go to bed. And it's like a Groundhog Day every day.
I was gonna say.
And it's like I don't do anything fun. It's just like, and it's burnt. I'm burnt out.
Done that so many times. This job will eat you alive if you let it. How you spend your time. Everyone has 24 hours in a day. How you spend your time, how someone else spends their time. Very. And the important thing is, we're going to do an exercise with money. Is if you actually had that money and you looked at it like spending time, like would you really do it? Would you really put some? My first broker, I was with another company. He said it would be cheaper to go buy a 6-pack, put it in the back of the back of the seat of your car, drive that around than a client that didn't have a pre-qual letter. Like you're just wasting your time. Like just go get a 6-pack and go drive to someone's house and enjoy it. Like, and I know I'm gonna drink beer, and that's probably not a good analogy, but
great analogy. It's a great analogy.
I'm just like, why waste your time on people or things that aren't important to you? It's not worth it. So, and protecting it is where it gets tricky and hard, and it takes practice. I had someone on the phone yesterday. It was a friend actually, so it wasn't. Again, it was Wednesday, so it was a friend that I was talking to. It wasn't work, and she says, "I just have such a hard time with conflict, and I don't know how to do it." And I said, hardly anyone out there knows how to deal with conflict really well. And I said, you know what it is? It's having that conversation. You're going to do it terrible. Then you're going to have another conversation or argument with your spouse. It's going to be terrible. The next time it's going to be a little better. And it's going to be a little better. Like you're constantly like having fierce conversations. If you go through that program, it's understanding it and just getting slightly better. Saying no again or doing it a different way. You just keep learning. Anyone else?
Okay. Oh. Same start. 5 a.m. start. Takes about an hour to get ready. Then an hour drive in, and I start calls or I listen to. But if I can make calls, it's East Coast calls, and then I get into the office around like 7:30. Then I settle in. It takes me about like half an hour to get my conga up, through. Not that day. And then I'm here pretty solidly until around 6 or 7. And then I start my drive home. And I do calls on that too. And I'm starting to do more personal calls on the second half to try and nurture the other side. But around 7 o'clock, get home at about 8, dinner, and then bed. Dinner, say by my partner, kids, and then around 10:30, pass out.
So long.
How does that make you? How does that make you feel reading or saying out loud?
So a little, actually a little gratifying because I've been feeling so like, oh man, this is a lot. I'm trying to juggle it, and I'm an external processor. And so to be able to see it out actually helps me, actually gives me a little bit more relief, and then helps me start putting the puzzle around. Okay, what do I need to shift here so that things actually start feeling better, working right, being, I should put efficiency as one of my core values, because you're right, when I'm efficient, I feel like a better person. Yeah. I feel like I show up as a better person. Yeah.
Oh, I used to get like almost like a high from it. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get to the office, do this, I'm gonna show 7 houses, I'm gonna knock them out in 2 hours, back at the office. Like, and I'd get home and I'd be like, look at me. Like, I just showed 7 houses and went on these appointments, and I was done, and I didn't take a break at all. Like, and I thought that was amazing. And because I was super efficient, like I loved it. And after a while, doing this for a while, I crave quietness. I crave silence and slowing down. Like I don't, that doesn't sound exciting to me. It did at one time. And there's this, doing this exercise in 6 months, if you did it again, it's going to be different, you guys. Like, you have seasons of your life. I had 2 kids in the last 8 years. My seasons have changed dramatically. And you're gonna go through different seasons. And it's okay if one of the circles is low, or 2 or 3. It's what's important to you. And the one thing, when we were doing it, they ask, like, well, what do you want to improve on, and what do you want? Most people automatically go to the thing that you're least high on, because they think, well, I messed up, I don't have a full circle. Well, no one has a full circle. That's impossible. So a lot of people say, well, why don't you just take something you're great at, keep doing that, instead of trying to force yourself that's not yourself and trying to make it work. Like, do what you do great. That's what makes you you. This job, like I said, is eat you alive. It is hard, and it can be fun. It can be great. Finding balance is very important. Thank you for sharing. So, what are we talking about? What does balancing look like? Again, there's no perfect circle. You might have a flat tire at the end of it on one side, and that's okay. So it's about, what do you want? What do you want to design your life to be? So I would say, I think it was in 2016. So I've had my little one for not quite 3 years. It was like 2 years, and I was hitting this ceiling of 40 to 45 units I was selling, and I was like, and I was working 4 days a week, and I'm like, I want to sell more. I have my 20-hour assistant, like virtual assistant. I'm like, I want to do more. I want to break that 50. Like, that 50 mark was huge. I was like, I want to break that. And so I had a conversation with someone, and like, you can't. You have to work more. If you want to break the 50, you have to break more. And I just remember leaving that meeting, and I was just like, I'm not sacrificing my life with my family. Like, that's important. I refuse to agree to this. However, it was still a limited belief. I still somewhat believed it, because looking around, I didn't have anyone that was like, oh, you're 4 hours, or you're working 5 hours, and that's okay. You look at most agents, and they're working all the time. So you think that you have to do that to match it. So in 2019, my virtual assistant and we closed 94 units, just the 2 of us. It was a crazy year, and I took a lot of vacations. I think I worked 180 days. Like, if you get super, and I didn't also enjoy that end, because then I realized I was not leveraging myself. I could have leveraged myself a lot better. And I was like, okay, I can do this. I mean, like, I was proud, and at the same time going, okay, I need more leverage. I shouldn't do this. Like, it doesn't make sense. Because it was starting to feed into, my phone blowing up on Wednesdays. And I just always respond back, like, sorry, I'm in appointments all day. Can't get back to you. I have an appointment tomorrow at 11 or 2. What would you like? And just always like. So my husband joined in 2021 or 2020. And then, so he's been taking all the buyers, and I've been taking the sellers. So getting leverage is important, because, like I said, I don't get the high of showing 7 houses and knocking it out in like an hour and something, and just be like, look, did it, and we wrote an offer. It was great. Like, I just don't get that. It doesn't excite me anymore, and it excites him. So I'm excited for him. He doesn't move as fast as me, because again, his is fun. Mine's efficiency. So we kind of like do this. But anyway, so that's balancing. I want to talk about myths, because that's going to be a big thing. It was a big thing for me. Like I was told I couldn't do it. And we believe people. I mean, our whole life is based on what we were brought up in and what we took. We just keep taking things instead of questioning why do I believe that? So I want you guys to see yell out or not yell out. Like, give me examples of what a myth is. Multitasking is a lot.
It's funny because, you know, when you're actually working, that's actually you say, hey, I'm great at that. But in reality, it's like, look at it, how can you 100%?
You get like a badge of honor. I've even seen it on applications. Like, are you a multitasker? Like, you check that box. They're like, yes, okay, we want that. Like, yeah, multitasking is you can't, if you chase 2 rabbits, you're not going to get either of them. Yeah. Okay. What's another myth about getting leverage or having a balanced life or taking time off or leaving work at 2? You want?
That it all has to look the same.
That it all, tell me.
So it looks different for each person. Each definition of each version can be different and still be just as beneficial. It can look different.
Well,
but it can't. So the myth is that it all has to look one way. It's not true.
I mean, you look at the 2 people next to you. Did they run their business like you?
I don't know about your business.
It's like, I don't have time for that. I'm running out the door.
Even right? So
right.
You do the same thing. Exact thing. So the version is still identical, right?
No one is you.
Yeah.
You're the only one that gets to be you in this world. So do it. And don't compare. I think the joy is comparison. Like, don't compare yourself to anyone. What's another myth? Come on, don't be shy.
That being busy is productive. That having things to do and being so busy all the time is a virtue.
Yeah, what is it up there? Don't mistake movement for achievement.
To add on that, it's know that not everything is higher. And there's a difference between what should be handled now and what should be later, but at the same time, you're like, it's on my list to do. I got to get it now. It doesn't happen.
Yes, we go over that in the one thing a lot. And I'm trying to guide my husband so he does not run into the same mistakes I did. And I keep telling him, like, just because these agents are throwing things at you, like, oh, request a repair, we have to get back to you tomorrow. Like, we need an answer by tomorrow. That's their emergency, it's not yours. Stop picking up other people's emergencies. Because he's like, I feel stressed, I have to answer all these. I know. I'm like, my email, I check it like twice a day, you guys. I'm like, it's their emergency. It's not yours.
There's one thing I learned off that from being a new agent that not everybody's trying at the same time. Say you get a phone call at like 9 o'clock. Nothing happens overnight.
Yep.
So it necessarily doesn't have to happen right now because this is your time with your family to protect that. But at the same time, like, that's their fire. It's not yours. Like, get you.
Yes. And people, typically they will respect if you say it's family time. I have picked up, when you have clients that are a little more needy, you know, I'm sure you guys have had a few, that they call it out hours and they text and they expect an answer. I think one time the client was just being overwhelming and it was like 6 o'clock and my phone goes on silent 6:30 at night, doesn't come on until 7 the next morning. So it did ring because it was 6 something and not 6:30. It was like right in that, and I just had placed down for dinner, and I answered the phone because they were being really loud, and I'm like, this would be great. So I picked up the phone and I said, hey, and then of course the client just starts talking, but my kids are being super loud, and all of a sudden they realize, oh, are you at home? Are you with the family? I said, I am, and I didn't say anything because this is a good time. I'm like, it's not. Like, we're having dinner. And they're like, oh, so sorry. Oh, we'll talk tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. Perfect. Thanks. And I hung up. If I would have said, that's fine, I'm always available, you just told them it's okay to keep calling you. But so many agents make that because they don't want that awkwardness of going like, hey, I have a family too. Or, hey, I'm busy. Or I'm on date night. Like, whatever it is. Like, there needs to be boundaries.
I just let my kids pick.
Right?
Like what age? What age are they at? Like to get really
4, 3, and 10.
Wow.
The 10 months is the one that does pick it up.
Well, they would learn really fast something's wrong with you mentally, or there's a big number. So
I think another myth, one more, is that you have to do it. That you have to be the one that gets the thing done because you're going to be the best at it, or that
aren't we the best?
Yes, or that your client would only want to work with you. I struggle with that. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
It's a myth.
And we think we're the best at everything, and we might be great at things. But how do we know that the person that we're going to hire, that they're amazing at this? Like that is what they're going to take off your plate, and they're a rock star in them. Like you're robbing someone of actually doing the job better because you're controlling. Like I heard people say like, oh, I have control issues. Don't we all? Like, gosh. The only reason I got out of my control issues, I had a baby or two. So like I gave it up for the baby. Any other myths around leverage?
Maybe you're right on.
I think
we can't do it.
Yeah, I think it's also a myth that it has to be expensive, that leverage has to cost a lot of money, and that it's going to take away from your profit.
Yeah, I got leverage early on very inexpensive. I mean, when I joined Keller Williams, we had a TC department, and I calculated how many sides I did and how much which like times it by whatever they charge. And I was like, oh, dang, if I pay that person that's just going to do my TC work, like it's more than someone I get for a virtual assistant 20 hours a week, and they'll do whatever I ask them. That's why I did that. I also ran out of time a lot of the days. Selling 94 properties, I couldn't show them, so I just paid someone in the office. Pay you $25 to $50 a door, depending on where you drive, and you show. That's all you're doing. Just show property. Get a runner. I mean, you can think out of the box, you guys. Like this job is so easy to do. It's 100 different ways, 1,000 different ways. Look at Ken on YouTube. That guy, Ken, one from Family Reunion. He did one video a day for 90 days, and now he crushes it in full set. Like it's amazing, but he just did that. That's all he did, and now he's the expert. Gary's had him on the Mastermind. He's had him on stage. Guy's brilliant. Just take the thing you're good at and do it.
For one thing.
Very simple. Hard.
Yeah. Okay, leverage. I have both of, and I've random things in there, but business and personal. So these are just a few. I know there's a ton more out there, but I want you guys to start thinking, like think bigger. Like, how can you get leverage, and what areas of your life do you need leverage now?
Oh my God, I love Instacart so much. Your favorite.
What's a Care Bear?
Yeah, what's a Care Bear person?
Care Bear is the person taking care of all your clients that give gifts, hey, happy anniversary. Had a baby. They like kids graduating. They, just taking care of all the gifts. All the gifts. Someone that cares more than like.
Oh my gosh, that's Melinda.
And there's brilliant Care Bears in this world.
Yeah.
I said I hired my husband because he's sweeter than I am. So he's nicer. So yeah, just finding that. Alisha, oh.
Yeah, you mentioned paying people to show homes. I'm curious, when you started doing that, like how you structure as a system? At the very beginning, when you were just
at the very, very beginning, as a solo agent, I did it because I had time way I was going to. And so I just found people in the office. I made a one-page, I still have it, like a one-page kind of that goes over. I would also have like leads come in. I don't have time. I work with my database and referrals. And so I told certain agents I would go to them and say, okay, it was like a newer agent or someone that needed help, and I would mentor or whatever. And I said, hey, if I pay you $35 a door, will you show my clients? And then they'll come right back to me. They're still my clients. And I'll give you first shot at all my open houses. I'm not doing open houses. All open houses. And I'll give you my leads. like the leads that come in that, you know, realtor.com or wherever it comes in, I'll hand them to you and you just pay me. You just build a relationship with someone in your office that you can do that with, because I only have so much time and I couldn't do it all.
Cool.
So if you guys flip to the next page, I want you guys to, actually after you flip to the next page, I want you guys to close your eyes for just a minute. Close your eyes and I want you to think about, where can you get leverage? Where can you get leverage in your business? Where do you need leverage? Don't overthink it. Where do you need leverage right now in your business and your personal life? Now open your eyes. I want you to write that down, and then we're going to answer the question, by when and why is this important to you? The one that takes like
Amy's like,
No, I have a babysitter, cleaner, house manager. And I just have her do it all.
what is the house manager?
Yeah.
She makes sure that if I need toilet paper,
I was about to say
paper happens. She makes sure that.
they can also like prepare.
Yeah.
They can.
She makes my kids lunch in the morning. Like I have a good time with my kids. She comes to make sure that their lunch is made. They get this, so that I can get. It was great. I hired a wife.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Remember when I was walking around here and I was like, I need a wife.
Yeah.
I hired a wife. But she's a girl.
She's saying
I hired a
she
wife.
has one is what she's saying. She's not saying it's only one.
Maybe a boy next. She's going off to college.
You need to have her find her replacement.
Now that is genius. That is genius.
Yeah, I don't know.
My babysitter. Oh wait, I gotta get everyone. My babysitter that I've had for a couple of years, when I told her, okay, babysitter, I went, you need to show up every Wednesday at 5:30 at my house. Every Wednesday. But okay. If she shows up because the one thing that was holding me back from doing date night with my husband on a regular basis was finding that babysitter and saying, does this time work this week? Does this time? I said, show up every week at 5:30 at my house. She's going to college. And I looked at her and I said, you have to find your replacement. Like you have friends. I know you do. Yeah. Find your replacement. And they got to be just as good or better than you. And they're here Wednesday at 5:30. So I asked her about it actually yesterday when she came in. I said, hey, so did you find your replacement? She goes, good news, I'm actually going to local college. I just changed my mind. I'm like, oh, even better. I don't have to worry about any of this. So, but if you have someone and they leave you, make them find someone else. Like they're in that industry or they babysit, they have other friends.
They're leaving their job.
Yeah.
So help find a replacement for that job.
I was so serious with her. I was like, I know you're 17, but you have to find a replacement. So. All right, so did everyone write down a leverage that they need to get in their personal and professional life? Here's the action time. This is where it gets serious. And it's not limited to just these things up here, you guys. I know I'm not thinking big enough here.
Am I being realistic in like right now or can I
just went over this. We can go back. Okay. Do you want to go over?
No, it's okay.
Well, tell me more. Are you saying for your future or are you talking about now? Is that what you're wanting to know?
Yeah, because right now, so I'm going to write in the I don't want so I need to it's not active.
I was like, I'm a check. How's he going?
Here, I'll answer it. All right, wait, you had a question over here. So she was asking about being new and not being 100% in real estate and what does that look like for now or the future? What I would say to that is Wendy happened. She got leverage in her personal life before she became an agent. She sat down and said, I'm not going to be an agent until I have someone that's taking care of the house and the kids. And her goal the first year was to close, I think it was like 19,000. That's all she wanted to do. And she's embarrassed to say that now. She actually is. She's like, it's so embarrassing. I'm married to the one thing guy. Like I get to talk to Gary Keller, and my goal was this, but she was in the transition of being a stay-at-home mom to then getting the business. Like she said, I won't do it because I see what agents do. I'm going to get leverage in my personal. And she's still, you got to think big. Get leverage on both sides. Obviously, you can't, like, you start off with, like, if you can't show on the weekends or whatever your other schedule is, I don't know what that is there someone that can fill in for you very easily? You can pay. That makes sense. All right, does anyone want to share what they wrote down as leverage?
Alisha, just going back to, maybe some agents that are newer, part-time, that can't pay for showing. You can always do percentage at closing.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many.
I've been in the business 7 years, but I do that now even. Like my showing agent is at closing. So
there's, like I said, you guys, there's so many different ways of doing this. Like, why? So we were family reunions in Florida, and there was a mastermind, and they brought out one of the head guys of Disney, and they were talking about, like, you guys, we all have this perception of what real estate looks like. We have all these like beliefs about it, but what if you just sat there and played the what if game? What if, like, here's all the rules in real estate supposedly. What if that didn't exist? What do we do? What if that didn't exist? Like, it's constantly challenging that. Disney years ago asked themselves, what if there really was a lockdown and no one could come to the park? I was like blown away that they had that conversation before 2020. And they said that they would do, like, bring it to house. I was blown away. I was like, before, like, why didn't other people think of that? Like, I never thought about that. So.
I also wrote something down, which is that Care Bear person. I just didn't have a name for it. Like in mine, I always wanted somebody to drop things off my client. I don't have a name for it.
I mean, you can name the person. Rock star,
like
unicorn.
I like Care Bear. Andre, you are required to name them a Care Bear. You have to put that on your advertising. I want a Care Bear and a wife now.
I want a Care Bear. Yeah.
Okay. You have to hire.
You guys put it out there, and then you guys as a group can interview multiple people and then get your person, or maybe they work for you and this person, and I mean, you don't need a Care Bear 20%. What does that look like? So by when will you get this leverage? And why is it important? The reason I wrote why is it important, because if you can't answer that, then you're most likely not. You want to take action. You want to do something like this. Yeah.
I love how you're laying this all out, because I started learning, time of being in business that, like, my personal area wasn't manageable today. I mean, for landscape, my wife always telling me, you need to cut the grass. I'll let the grass cut really tall. Like, I can't. I have to go show this week. And so eventually I got a landscaper, and that was awesome. I have a babysitter. I have a house cleaner. I was never big on, like, shopping online. I now do Instacart. And then now I'm like, I need a house manager, because with all of that, that's helped personally to where now I can really focus on business. And then as you focus on business, you're like, well, this is the why of why I'm doing this over here to help manage this area.
When your kids get old enough, you can start leveraging them too.
Yeah, that's like a whole different.
Instacart drops them off, but Lucy puts them away.
But it's so hard to break that, because initially, it's like, no, you're the parent. This is your house. You have.
But who taught you that?
My limited beliefs of growing up. It's like, no, or it's not feasible. We don't have enough money, so you have to take care of all these. And until I broke down, like, this is easy. Like, I would easily pay some. My pool guy said, I have a pool guy, $70 a month, take care of it. My time is more valuable.
You start to look at money different. You start looking at your time different, which then takes us in. I we're going to talk about the money exercise before it gets too late. You guys have 24 $100 bills in front of you. I want you guys to write over the over the $100 bill right here, what you did for that hour. So it's 24 hours in a day. What did you do yesterday? I want you to track everything you did yesterday. Did you watch TV? Did you play on your phone, Facebook? Did you slept? I want. Very good. That one goes right. So right on one side, just right over. I slept. I mean, we all slept at some point yesterday. That's 1 hour. Move it over. So we want to kind of rush through this.
Oh, so we don't have to do per hour?
No, just do one fraction. Yeah. So you have $100 bill. You slept. You went to the gym. You showed property. You keep flipping. Every $100 bill should have something on there. You don't need to break it down. Just one side. Just one side. Yes, right on it. It's fake money. It's not real. Each hour. Yes.
I am manifesting.
I know you keep the money. Okay. Is that clear?
I know. Boy, I have 35 people. You can't sleep for 8 hours.
Thank you, Ben.
I don't know the phone. I'm not in the phone.
This is what you did.
Okay, so.
Tell me when you guys are done because I need you to go to the next side.
The next side.
Yeah, just get through the first 24 hours and we're going to talk.
I'm going to say I drove in the car for Hey, I've thought about it. Yeah. I've thought about it. Okay.
So like, are you counting like our travel time, like taking kids to school, and then
if you add it up, what did the hour come to? Every hour. You need 24.
I only have 18.
It's like some of these didn't feel right. Okay.
right?
Thank you. Hopefully everyone got 24. If you've got a wrong number, tell me.
Oh, I look like I tried.
Yesterday was an off day.
So is making calls only 1 hour?
I don't know.
Don't be generic.
I know.
Nope.
I think I lost you.
Oh, no, it's following you.
Oh, there we go. I don't know.
You slept like 8 hours.
I need to sleep less.
It's like 3 hours of sleep. 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah. You need sleep. You do need sleep.
That's what.
Okay, so you should have 24 hours in one day, and you should have wrote one thing on each of the $100 bills. This is how you spent your time yesterday, just to get clarity. Okay, so when you're done, that's how you spent your day yesterday. Now, imagine you get those 2 people in place with leverage. So you got professionally, you got something, and personally. Now imagine that you have that in your life right now. Now I want you to flip over on the other side and write what would your ideal day look like with that leverage, knowing you have that leverage of a care bearer or house manager. What would your day look like if you designed your day? And you know you're spending your time. Oh, she's like, what the? I don't know. I didn't know there was people in.
Y'all still got it this too.
Sorry.
Oh, postcard.
Oh, you did. See you. So we write on the back, right? You like look at the words.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to set a category for
I have an FHA.
leverage.
No doubt.
Yeah.
3 hours.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
No, sorry.
It's like, what did I do next? I only have. I'm hungry. I'm hungry.
No. Imagine spending time on the most important things. Imagine spending more time with your kids or okay, doing a hobby, traveling. Maybe you have on there that you're gonna go travel, or every day you're gonna spend an hour looking on where you're going. What do you want to do? What's important to you? And start doing that instead of the things that we think we should do.
I said it would be nice to have my car, yeah.
That's fine. All good.
What are we writing on the back of them?
On the back of them, actually, I think you're probably gonna need to do it later. On the back of them, you're gonna imagine that you have that leverage. You have the leverage personal life, you have the leverage in professional life. Now that you have that leverage, what does your ideal day look like? I moved way too much. It does not like me. I'm sorry, everyone on Zoom. Yeah. We're just going to wrap up. We're going to talk about priorities for a little bit. One of the most unutilized tools in Keller Williams, in my opinion, is the 411. It is my favorite. The 411. Oh, yeah. I love the 411 because at first I didn't. I thought it was like, oh, it's accountability. I don't want to it's going to tell me what I'm not doing. I love it because I put the most important things on there and it helps me have a relationship with it. So doing and making sure you look at your professional and business life. What are the top 20% things that you need to do? She's a house manager. She doesn't need to do that. I get some meals that are already pre-cooked every week and it gets delivered to my house on Sunday. Like, who could do that? So it saves you time. Just making sure you guys are in the right things. Like mine is spending time with my family. I don't want to be cooking every night. Like I added up the hours of how much time it would take to cook and to clean every single night and what it takes away that time with my kids. And I do meal prepping on Saturday and I get a couple extra meals that are pre-cooked. So it saves me time. So what's important to you? So 401, I know this is really small, but to give you an idea, my 401, I have a lot on the personal side. 36 dates with my husband last year. I wanted that. How many times I was going to exercise, vacation and bike rides. How many books am I reading? Like those were super important for me, and I wanted to track them on a high level. And then on the other side, it talks about contacts, planning time. I found in my life that I wasn't stopping enough, like full efficiency. I wasn't stopping and looking at my business and going, oh, I need to do this. Instead, I just kept running instead of stopping. Every Friday from 8 to 9, that's all I do. I go to a coffee shop, get some tea, and I just sit there and go, okay, how can I make my life or my business better? Like, how can I improve it? Why am I feeling like I'm running a rat race and not improving on it? And then team meetings and goes over that. And then I just track all my books that I read. And this is years of habits that I've created. So it didn't happen overnight. 5 years ago, I'm a totally different person. I never got up early. I get up some days at 3:55 and go to Orange Theory at 4:30. And that's okay. And I'm exhausted by the end of the week, and I sleep in on Saturday. So I'm not perfect. I would just say, what? Who sleeps in? Eight sleeping. Yeah, right? Yeah. So any ahas? We went over core values, 7 circles. We talked about what's important to you guys, about leverage. I know we didn't get a lot of time to talk about priorities, but I would just encourage you to sit down and go, what's important with my life? And tracking those and making sure those are the top priorities in your life.
I love the motivation. Every office knows that. I love this different times and the 7 perspectives. I don't say live my life by it. That's kind of like how I live my life. And it's funny, I was just talking to leaders the other day about this. I talk to a lot of people about that. Your business may be good, or keep the office, your family, or your house, or your experience might be off. But you have the intention of wanting to actually improve that because it is passion. So with me, I tend to, every end of the year, I always get burnt out, obviously, like most of us do. So I always kind of evaluate, where am I off at? And then it's usually physical. Usually, that's usually where you're at. And so then I focus on my physical and I work on my health. And I notice that as I get better and more consistent at the gym that works on my schedule, my business tends to thrive. And obviously, then I go to that roller coaster. I focus on trying to close everything. I tend to go off of what I would do at that point. Until now, I start following that, where it's just do what I'm doing, make it different than somebody else does. But at the same time, I'm managing my circle where I'm happy with making more time with my family, having more of a spirit of a why I'm doing for my family, and then also focus on key relationships, because we tend to work with clients that we don't know, we forget about our sphere, our friends, and our family, and then it's what do you do after work? I just pray, and I go home to sleep. So it's managing that really does give us more fulfillment. I mean, for myself, I found that it helps.
And then we get busy, and then it falls off because we have to show, or we don't feel like we have time for it all. I didn't feel like I had time for myself, and I was doing nothing for myself up until it was 2019. I wasn't working out. I wasn't taking time for myself, date nights, any of that. So I feel like I was just drowning. So I just needed, the days I worked, I worked really hard. The days I took off, I was very present, making sure that, but at the end of the day, I wasn't taking care of myself. And so that's when I was like, oh, I need to take care of myself. And the only time I felt like I could work out was at 4:30 in the morning. And yes, it sucks getting up 3:55. However, my life, I feel so much better. But it's not for everyone. And it took me a long time to get there. I would get up at 3:50. I would go to the gym 4:30, come back at 5:30, fall back asleep for half an hour because my body wasn't used to it. And I had this mindset, this is crazy. This is early. Who does this? This is insane. And then now I don't go back to bed. It's the one thing's all about, the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It all looks like you can just go and push it over, right? It looks like you can just go and shove it over. But you can't. It's about making it so small. Whatever this activity is that you're doing, look at the priority that you're doing and just make it so small that it feels so easy to do. Most of us look at, they say, the domino that's the 25th domino, and we're like, oh, that's small enough. No, it's not. You have to go so small, it feels so easy, and break yourself into it. You're not just going to be like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to do all these things, or you're not going to do all of them. Take one habit, do a 66-day challenge on it. And if you did 4 of those a year, imagine what your life would look like in 5 years. Like mine's completely different. I'm a totally different person 5 years ago.
You know, that, you know, like we're always kind of taught that the schedule is that you should go to 5 o'clock. And then from there, you start off to get early kind of job. And that was for some people, it's not for everybody. You know, like I kept trying to do that 5 o'clock, but I just couldn't be consistent. And then being inconsistent, you get upset, you just stop.
Yep.
And it's nice because my accountability and coaching, I was there like, we'll make it work for your schedule. And I thought different. I'm like, well, I wake up, I spend time with my kids, make the breakfast, and I go to school. But when I drop out of school at 7:45, I can go right to the office, or I can get a closer gym membership. And after I drop my daughter off, go straight to the gym. I would get an hour, be in the office by 9. And then I was like, wait, this is doable, and I'm consistent, and I'm still managing my life in a structure that I just do.
I think everyone's schedule looks different. And I don't expect anyone to live my schedule. I have a much different schedule than most anyone I know. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. This just works for me. It doesn't work for everyone. I know people that work out at night. It just doesn't work for me because I'm dead by the time night comes, and I'm like, I'll say no.
You find yourself getting 8 hours of sleep?
So if you read The Morning Miracle, if you tell yourself the night before that it's plenty of sleep, I actually do believe this. I always do count, and I'm like, that's plenty of sleep. It's gonna be 6 hours of sleep, or 6.5, or 7 hours. It just depends. And I'll tell myself when I lay down, like 6 hours of sleep, it's plenty of sleep. I'm gonna wake up, I'm energetic, it's gonna be great, it's gonna be a great day. Telling myself that really works, because I sometimes would tell myself, oh my gosh, I gotta go to bed right now. I'm gonna get 6.5 hours of sleep if I fall asleep right now. And I also do meditation. I started 2.5 years ago, sleep meditation every night, either 5 or 10 minutes. And it helps me because my mind, I used to be a night owl. It's very easy to be a night owl. And I let my brain, as soon as I hit that pillow, I would think of all like, oh, did I pull that tonight? Or I have to do this tomorrow. Meditation talks to you, like breathing. I do it. It didn't work. It didn't feel like it was working at first, but again, it's just like going to the gym or doing 75 hard. It doesn't feel like anything's happening until you've been doing it like 35, 40 days, 60 days. And now I do it every night, and I go to bed and I sleep way better than I did when I was getting more sleep.
Yeah, what application that is?
There's Headspace and there's Calm, and I can't remember my husband.
I use Calm, and my kids don't too. Like there's gratitude meditations, and they call it the lady.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can get a guy voice.
Yeah, it's a girl, and they're like, "Can we listen to the lady?"
Yes, you know, I started over the last year, like, I make my green juice, I light my candles, I pray, I meditate, and I say my affirmations. And now I'm reading, I read the Miracle Morning Real Estate 3 times, and now I'm reading the Miracle Morning Millionaire. And I realized in that book, I was saying my affirmations. Well, he said that, you know, we always said I'm a money magnet, money comes to me easily naturally. He says that we should be saying that, you know, I will double my income, blah, 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 by being 100% committed.
Oh, yes, the committed part.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And then I have the app, the Miracle Morning, the Life Savers app, where you check off everything that you do. When you visualize, you know, you check it, then it goes, when you finish all of the exercise part of it.
Yeah.
It gives you that, you know, the little confetti stuff. But, you know, that helps me out so much waking up in the morning. I tell people I do more in the morning than sports are. I even trade in the morning. I do finance trading. I do so much before I can get here for 8 o'clock.
Having a morning routine is key, whatever that looks like. I do.
It's a state of mind. It gives you that mind, that state of mind, that mindset.
Yeah, I do that, and it's so helpful. I read, I write, I visualize what my life looks like, what my day is going to be like. I do the Morning Miracles. Another good book is the 5 a.m. Club.
I'm reading that right now.
There you go.
Wow.
The 5 a.m. book club.
And I don't go to the gym. I work. You know, Comcast got them free workouts. I'm not getting up in the cold and driving to the gym.
I have to, the biggest aha from this is just asking yourself these questions. I don't think that people ask themselves these questions on a regular basis. And so just sitting down and asking yourself, what the priorities mean, what's important in my life, what do I want to feel, what do I want it to look like, where am I at, helps you make decisions that can move in the right direction. You might not be able to make it change right now, but at least you know where you're at.
Awareness.
And you're aware of what you can change. And then opportunities will come up to you through the universe, and then you'll be able to take those opportunities where they come. Yep.
That's a big one, because like I'm a big supporter of the digital. And so a lot of people, you know, like depending on what's going on, I'm like, well, my big question is, do you know yourself?
A lot of people don't.
You know, like, why do you know how to be that client? Yeah, but if you want how you operate, you're going to know how somebody else can operate. Sure. Like we never take the time.
Thank you, guys. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say that I am leveraged, and I think that having an open relationship with a filmmaker and like revisiting, like writing out where she needed help in life, personal and business, and then just revisiting it constantly, I think it's done wonders for us.
And that's going to change. So doing it again.
It changes
all the time. Yeah. Beautiful.
I'm pickled. So what?
Yeah, every year it adds something. Like it's a gym, and then adding thinking time was a huge. I started that like a year or two ago, and then I added me time last year. I told my husband, I'm like, hey, we're constantly running. Like, you're gonna go take me time for an hour on Wednesdays in the middle of the day, and then we're just gonna separately by ourselves to do read, whatever, quietness, stillness. It's just what does your, again, every season of your life is different. What do you need? Being honest with yourself and yourself. There's nothing wrong. I just want to see everyone not have a crazy life. I want people to have a balanced life, and I see you just running around and I'm like, you're stressed. I'm always like, let's talk. I want to talk with you. So anyway, thank you for having me so much. But I know that's a lot for some people, and they can get through all of it. So.
Do you have an extra $1?
Yeah, can I
Can I have $1?